Jofra Archer has been the highlight of the bowling unit of RR, but otherwise the bowling, other bowlers have looked toothless. So what do you have to say on that?
Toothless might be a little bit harsh. The last three games we came down to, games perhaps we should have chased and won. And I suppose that's like anything, because I think we've played pretty well over the last three games. We just haven't won a couple of key moments, and so that's why we're sitting at the rear end of the table, where perhaps we could have sat some more in the middle. So look, we've had some big overs. Like, there's no denying that. We've had some bowlers who have had some tough days, but that's probably been the same for a number of bowlers and teams throughout the tournament. So when you say toothless, what do you mean? I think collectively of a bowling unit, especially over the last three games, we've done a pretty good job, and kept the opposition to scores perhaps we should have chased down.
Well, Shane, going into tomorrow's game, as you said, not in an ideal situation. So when you are down like this, as you said, a couple of games could have gone either way, and nobody would want to play a super over after being so close to the win. So in a situation like this, when hardly anything goes for the team, including your captain is getting injured, so how as part of the supporting staff, how do you manage to get the team back into a good mood in front ahead of a crucial match like this one?
Um, I suppose the stuff that's hardest is that, I feel like for us, for 35 overs of games, we've played really well, and in fact have been in control in some games, and probably got into positions where we should have won. So you have to give credit to the opposition. They were good enough in those tight moments to go over the top of us and win those games. I suppose that's what hurts, is you go now, we're 2-7 or whatever we are, 2-8, and go, geez, where we could sit on the table, but there's nothing we can do about that now. So look, we're probably out of the tournament in terms of the points table, but that doesn't mean there's not a lot to play for. Obviously, as a team, we want to make sure we finish the season strong and continue playing well, but also for individuals, there's a lot to play for. For next season, wanting to stay with the franchise, there's always that up for Kate to put on performances that warrant that we think we've worked for. So yeah, for me, it's been really disappointing. I think we're all competitive. We want to win, and when you've got a bunch of people who've worked really hard, like our guys have, I don't expect them to just turn up and go through the motions. I expect us to turn up every day with the right attitude, bring energy, and make life as hard as we possibly can for the opposition that we're playing against. And I feel like we've done that for most of the competition. We've lost a lot of close games, but we just haven't quite been good enough.
Shane, this is Suhas from Times of India.
Hi, mate.
My question is, CSK, they are at the bottom, at the 10, and their coach Stephen Fleming yesterday only, he said they might made some mistakes at the auction table. Do you agree with that RR also did the same mistake at the auction table, because we don't have a backup strength to replace the players who are failing continuously?
It's a good question. Maybe. I suppose that's something you work through at the end of the season, see how the season pans out. I think you also look at that perhaps at the end of an auction cycle after 3 years. You look at the last 3 year cycle for Rajasthan was a great cycle, wasn't it? Made a final, made the playoffs, was in contention all the time. It's not an ideal start, but then at the end of the year, that's what you do. You look at your squad, you look at who's performed, how do you make improvements and changes. I think every team does that. In terms of whether it's been a poor auction or not, look, I don't really think about that too much, to be honest. I'm not really involved in that process, but what you would say is I think we've played pretty good cricket. We just haven't been quite good enough. So, as I said, if we'd seized a couple of key moments, it could very well look different on the table, and we may not be having this conversation.
Sure. My question is, don't you think there's some the team management couldn't manage to put certain players, like making mincemeat of young Vaibhav, he was sent up by just in the first innings that he played here. He scored magnificently good runs, 35. But that was not the reason why he should have been promoted. And look what you have done. He got only 16 runs. The same player got in his debut 35 runs. So at times what we have seen, the players are not utilized properly by sending them the right order. Do you think there's this drastic decision-making process is something which needs to be reviewed?
I think Rybov's in the right spot for him. Obviously, he's very young, and most of the times the easiest place to bat is at the top of the order, and he's an opening batsman and has played well so far for someone who's very young. The most difficult spots to bat in T20 cricket are in the middle order. So to put a 14-year-old in the middle order when he's batted all the time at the top of the order would be a mistake. I think when you're losing, everybody questions everything. You know, when you're winning, everything's good. That's the nature of the job, right? And that's what we do as a coaching unit. We sit down and we talk about, are we making the right decisions? Who should be batting where? We go through that process. Now, all you can do is take that information, the players you've got, the form they're in, the situation of the game, make a decision, and go with it. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. As I said, for the last 3 games, we've got in a position to win with the bat. Actually, we should have won. The chases that we've done, we just haven't.
Nothing is working well for you.
Well, that's the nature of the game. Like, there's always, when you have a 10-team competition, only one can win it. So that's the nature of sport, right? We want to win. We're trying our best to win, but sometimes it doesn't happen.
Shane, Sanju will available for tomorrow's match?
No.
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 And second question is, Rajasthan lost 3 matches on the verge of winning stage, but they lost. So did you discuss in the dressing room and how to manage that thing?
Look, as I said, after every game, we get together and go through the game. Like the things we've done well, the things we haven't, the areas we're looking to improve, and just try to make subtle adjustments in the way that we play. You know, as I said, I feel like we've played well for 35 overs in every game for the last 3 games, and we just haven't won. So we haven't tried to panic. I think if we were getting smashed by everyone, it would be a different story, but we're not. We feel like we've got into positions to win. We just haven't quite been good enough, and our opposition's been really good. So yeah, all those discussions happen all the time after every game. It's whether we win or lose, we talk about those things. Unfortunately, we're losing more than we're winning. But we also have a squad that we have, right? And we've just got to go out and be really clear about the way we want to play. We'll do that tomorrow and try to tip over GT. And as I said, if we continue to play like we have done and be a little bit better in the key moments, then I'm sure we'll win some games.
Hi Shane, just an extension to what he had asked. Like recently we heard Dwayne Bravo say that a lot of players in KKR are losing form because there is a series of losses that they're enduring. The momentum is lost. We saw that with CSK as well. The new players who have come in, they're doing well. The ones who have sort of been there in this momentum, they have slid away. How do you kind of address this issue of when there are a number of losses that are piling up, players tend to lose form? I'm assuming maybe that happens with coaches as well, because it's still an environment. I mean, what is at stake beyond, you mentioned that there is something to look forward to for the next season, but for this season itself, and as a coach as well, does this sort of bring down motivation, especially since all of you all are sort of brought up in an environment where wins and losses are part and parcel of the whole growing up stage? There's victory, losses. Why does it still happen, and is there a way to address this if you all have experienced this over 20, 30 years of being a part of the system?
Yeah, look, and all the coaching staff are very competitive. All the people in our environment are very competitive. So we want to win every game. Every time you play a game of cricket, you want to win. That's the nature of what we do. Loss of motivation? Absolutely not. No, that's like, we're professionals. Our job is to turn up and bring energy and put a performance on every game. So we've prepared for this game like every other game. Like, so we know exactly how we want to play. We want to know how to attack their batting lineup. We know we want to play to our home field advantage and what that looks like. You know, last year we won a lot of games at home, nearly all the games here. Obviously, when you bring a new group of people in, sometimes that adjustment, and I think you've seen that through the IPL, teams have changed. Some people have coped and adapted to home conditions and other teams haven't. So look, at the end of the day, the first fight is to get to the playoffs, and we're not going to get to the playoffs now. So I think you have to identify that and be honest with that. But no, look, that's the nature of sport, right? You turn up and someone's going to win, and 9 teams aren't. All you've got to do is have a really clear game plan, understand how you want to play, and then go out and do it. And if you're not good enough, that's okay. We haven't been good enough so far, but that doesn't mean we're not determined to get out there and get stuck in over the next 4 or 5 games. That'll never change. So, yeah, we as a coach, you're always looking for that extra little bit of improvement, and that would be the same for me with a Jofra Archer who's bowling brilliantly, to a Tushar Deshpande, to a Sandeep Sharma. We're always looking for improvement, never satisfied with that. So that doesn't change whether we're winning games of cricket or not. So that's what I love about the game, and I'm hoping that we'll finish the tournament and on a good note.
Hi Shane, just keeping this entire season so far, you've seen Riyan Parag also lead. What do you make of his captaincy and the way he's led the entire season? And keeping one eye on the next season, do you see him, take up that role on a more permanent basis?
No, I don't see him taking up on a permanent basis. Obviously, we've lost our captain, which has hurt us a little bit. We've got a pretty young team, or an experienced team, and so 22, Riyan. I know he's been around the IPL for a while, but he's pretty young to come in and lead the team. He's actually done a really good job. We're really happy with what he's doing. He would admit himself that he's still learning the role, and we've got some good support around him. But so far, he's got a very sharp cricketing brain. I think the stuff that he's done on the field with the bowlers and the changes that he's made have been really good. And for us, I suppose the upside is you've got someone else who's gained a little bit more leadership experience for next year as well. So, I think when Sanju's on the field, he's been excellent. So we'll go into next season with 2 people who have got that captaincy experience, and I think that's going to be good for the team in the long term. Thank you. No worries. Thanks, guys. Oh, no problem. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. I always try to.